Hey everybody, it's me, Sven Sharpen here, bringing you day number 65 of Let's Talk About Autism. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button down below. It'll help me out a lot. Anyway, today's video is about some really shocking statistics that, I've come up with myself and from what I've seen on the internet, but take them with a grain of salt because there's no good sources on the matter, and what I'm going to throw out there is based on some sources as well as my own estimations. But there are plenty of sources that will tell you that trans-identified people are 6 times more likely to be autistic. It's actually 3 to 6 times, but it's really a lot more than that because half of the people being placed in these clinics, gender clinics, are on the autism spectrum. So that's a difference between 1 and like 50%. That's 50 times more likely. And for Gen Zers, it's probably closer to like 2 to 3%, which is arguably 30 to 300 times more than it should be. But that should be insane in and of itself. But for autistics, the difference between 3 and 50, that's 16 times more likely to be trans. So that's way more than 6. And from what I've seen, and there's another source from the late 10s that will tell you that 70% of autistics are, identified with the alphabet soup cult, with half of that being trans. So that would be 35%. But that was probably a gross overestimation then, but might be an underestimation now. I'd say the percentage of autistics that say they're trans by itself is 40%, and the whole alphabet soup as a whole is probably like 75 to 80. So most of my community has completely vanished into this sort of alphabet soup identity of something other than straight. And this did not used to be the case before. In fact, our percentage was probably lower, or at least about the same as it was before. I'm not saying autistic people can't be gay or trans, but I'm saying that the proportion of autistics that are gay and trans, or lesbian, or whatever, bisexual, is supposed to be the same as it is for the general population. And the reason it's not is because we're way more vulnerable to this sort of attack by this cult that has deliberately targeted us. And so that's just nuts, and that should really shock you. And I've had a hard time finding straight autistic people anymore. Like, I have to go through 10 different people just to find one, just to find one. And 40%, that's a crazy amount. I'd say there's probably about 7 or 8 million people diagnosed with autism. So 40%, that we're talking about millions of people here. And if it's like $100,000 that's a huge amount of money that we're being exploited for. We're talking billions and billions of dollars, as well as millions more votes for the politicians that push this crap. So, and actually, it's most of that uptick, most of that massive increase was during and after COVID. So when COVID happened, prior to that, it was definitely bad. I'd say maybe like 20% were gay or something, maybe as high as 30. But now it's like 80. So now I feel like I have no community, no voice, and I'm watching the community I once had just completely vanish into this cult. I don't even recognize my autistic friends anymore. There's one friend I have that used to be totally straight and had no clue what trans even was, who now is completely all in. And I know the reasons for all this. I know that they target us deliberately, and I'll talk to you about that in a later video and how they do it. But I feel like I don't have a community anymore. I don't have a voice, and that's why I make these videos, is so we, the remaining autistic population that hasn't yet been sucked into this cult, can actually have a voice and, a way to fight back. Because, it's going to keep getting worse if no one fights for us. In fact, I'd say if it gets over 50% trans, then systems are going to think all autistics are trans. 50's still quite a ways off from 100, but that's still a lot. If half the people you're meeting on the autism spectrum say they're trans, not to mention the rest of the soup, you won't have, the system will just assume that autistics are trans, all of them, even if they're not. And we've seen this kind of thing before with other misconceptions, so why would this be any different? And I think that would really be the end of autism as we know it. It'd be a complete genocide. And I think it's intentional. It's really a eugenics program to wipe us out. And we must not allow that to happen. We have to fight back. We as autistics must unite those of us who haven't been transed, and if we have and then eventually regretted it, like, we're part of the cult, so detransitioners, autistic detransitioners must unify. We need to fight back against this evil monster that is really trying to take us completely over. So what needs to happen is for those of us to, like, really mobilize. Like, we need a voice, we need a movement, and we need to pass some stuff that'll prevent us from falling victim to something like this ever again. So that's what I'm fighting for, and that's why I make these videos, is because I want to have a community. We need friendship, we need a voice, we need a leader, and I'm the only one seemingly willing to do that. I mean, there's probably someone else out there, so if you're one of them, like, feel free to reach out to me. You could DM me on X and Instagram or whatever. So, or you could just comment below and tell me that you want to join in, and I'll probably reach out the best way I can. So that's what's going on, and we need to fight back and take our community back for common sense, for truth, and for safety, and growing up whole, and just being loved just the way God created us. So yeah, that was day 65. I will see you on day 66. Thank you very much for watching. If you got this far, I really appreciate it. This word needs to get out. So, and share this to everyone you know if you can. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on day 66, and goodbye.